Alright, welcome back everybody. Merry Chrysler. Happy holidays. Hopefully y'all's week has been good. The holidays are here, which means we gotta do some Christmas things, Christmas activities. We don't have to, but I want to. And I can't stream right now, which means we are going to be doing some Christmas react videos, but not just any Christmas react videos. Some spooky Christmas react videos. We love the spooky. It is Christmas, still can't get over Halloween. We gotta do some spooky Christmas reactions. We are going to be reacting to some SCP explained story and animation. Hopefully y'all are ready for some spooks. This one is called SCP-784 Christmas Cheer. Let's just get into it.
Christmas. Some know it as the most wonderful time of the year.
Christmas,
a
yeah.
time for snow.
We love Christmas.
Family, and
Yes,
a sense of
comfy.
magic in the air. Others know it as a time of stress,
Ooh.
last-minute shopping,
that is
canceled
true.
flights, and relatives you'd rather not be stuck in a room with.
That's something. Oh, that's so true. Every holiday is like that, isn't it? Where all the family get-togethers are sometimes awkward. I hadn't thought about that. I don't really have that. I'm blessed to not have that.
No matter how you feel about Christmas, there's one thing we can all agree on. It only comes once a year, right? Well, that might be true in most of the world.
Wait a
But
minute.
the SCP Foundation came across one particular little town where the Christmas party never stops.
Oh, that doesn't sound
for
good,
better,
though.
Or for much, much worse.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't like that.
SCP-784 is a neighborhood in a small Texas town
No.
made up of 24
I'm in
houses
Texas.
and 2 apartment buildings. Every last one of them is decorated top to bottom in bright, twinkling Christmas lights. No matter how hot it is outside, and Texas summers can be brutal.
Can I just say it is 80 degrees in December here in Texas? Get me out. Am I in this town we're speaking of right now? Am I in the SCP town? Get me out. It is 80 degrees in December. Fahrenheit, by the way, for the non-Americans.
The ground is always blanketed with at least 12 centimeters of snow. Curiously, there is never any visible snowfall happening in the neighborhood that would explain this. The snow is just always there. It might look inviting from the outside, a quaint little neighborhood where the snow never melts and the Christmas lights never go out. But the folks at the SCP Foundation know by now that things are rarely ever what they seem. All of the houses in SCP-784 are occupied by beings referred to as SCP-784-1. They appear to be completely ordinary, mostly adult humans dressed in traditional Christmas sweaters. There are approximately 300 people living in SCP-784, and they appear to age like normal people, though no deaths of SCP-784-1 have ever been observed.
Wait, I think I had heard about this, about a little... I don't think it was a Christmas town in specific, but it was another SCP where a town was kind of like stuck in time. This might be the exact same one, just in a different context, but I think I've heard of this.
The citizens of SCP-784 spend their time doing activities exclusively associated with Christmas and the holiday season. They sing Christmas carols, perform Christmas pageants, throw eggnog festivals, give gifts, and decorate their homes. When the sun goes down, the activities turn to acts of Christmas-themed vandalism, decorating any object or living thing deemed not cheerful enough by any means necessary.
Oh no.
When a Foundation supply convoy stopped near SCP-784 for the night in order to refuel, they got to experience this maniacal dedication to the Christmas spirit firsthand. First, the Foundation vehicles were egged, drawing the attention of the personnel on board. As the Foundation operatives chased off the egg-based assailants, they left several vehicles unattended. When they returned, they found their vehicles and equipment changed into something a bit more festive. First, they noticed that a Humvee had been converted into a sleigh.
I was gonna say, what if they turned it into like a full-on sleigh? Oh, that is so interesting. So they're more like a cult, a Christmas cult, which I wouldn't be surprised at this point. In a town where every single day is Christmas, regardless of whether they want it or not.
Upon checking the inventory of a weapon shipment on board, they realized the fragmentation grenades had been replaced with glass Christmas ornaments, and antlers had been welded onto the 156 safety helmets in their possession. Unsettled by these changes and the speed at which the seemingly human instances of SCP-784-1 had been able to make them, the personnel attempted to drive away. When they started their engines, they were shocked at a loud sputtering sound and bursts of nutmeg-scented smoke.
Oh no.
While they were gone, their fuel tanks had been filled with eggnog. If this encounter wasn't enough to demonstrate that SCP-784 was not to be trifled with, there were several incidents of SCP Foundation agents entering the bounds of the neighborhood and failing to adequately perform the required Christmas celebrations.
What?
When someone's Christmas cheer is not up to par, instances of SCP-784-1 in the vicinity respond immediately and aggressively, incapacitating the offending person and forcing them into the nearest house. 5 different Foundation agents have been abducted in this way so far. The first Foundation agent to be abducted was Agent Paulson. While patrolling through SCP-784 dressed in a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer sweater and a Santa hat, Agent Paulson made the grave mistake of wishing a passing person happy holidays. In the blink of an eye, the mood around her darkened. 8 stone-faced people with their holly jolly attire surrounded Agent Paulson. She attempted to draw her weapon to defend herself, but simply was not fast enough. Thrashing and screaming for help, Agent Paulson was dragged into a nearby home, kicking over an inflatable snowman on the way in. Next, Agent Matthews.
Wait, so we don't know what happens to them. They are just they are just sent to somewhere. They're sent to the back rooms to be taken care of, to be dispatched of, because they're not festive enough. Which, can we talk about that? That is such a Willy Wonka thing to do, to just fill everything, every orifice of the vehicle with eggnog. Like, that is a curse. That, oh no.
Was on night patrol when a bout of spontaneous caroling broke out. He joined in singing Silent Night in an attempt to blend in with the instances of SCP-784-1. Unfortunately, he misremembered the lyrics to the song and began singing the third verse.
Oh,
everyone
no,
else
that's
was on
something
the
that would happen
While
to
still
anyone.
Singing, the citizens overwhelmed Agent Matthews and tied him up with a string of decorative red and green lights. Agent Sanderson, who was supervising the patrol, attempted to intervene and free Matthews, which attracted the attention of more instances of SCP-784-1. Both agents were overwhelmed by the crowd, restrained, and pulled into a home for what can only be described as Christmas Carol reprogramming.
Oh, no.
Observers heard the sound of Christmas carols being sung inside for several days. While on his patrol, Agent Anderson tripped and stubbed his toe hard against a Santa Claus-themed lawn gnome.
Did he curse?
Overwhelmed by pain
Did he
and
curse?
irritation, Anderson swore
Yeah.
loudly and violently for a duration of 14
okay,
seconds.
well, hold on. Okay, one curse word coming out. Sure, 14 seconds of cursing? That is a whole Family Guy bit. That is the entire Family Guy bit of Peter, like, stubbing his toe or something and just... the entire 14 seconds? That's a lot. Also, sorry if you hear, like, noises in the background. People already have fireworks and everything that isn't fireworks.
At the sound of his salty language, 3 instances of SCP-784-1 sprang into action and grabbed Anderson before he could react. 2 held his body in place, restraining his arms and forcing him to his knees. The 3rd held his head still, tilting it back and forcing his mouth open. A 4th instance emerged from a house carrying a quart of eggnog.
Oh,
As Anderson
no.
struggled to no avail, the eggnog was poured into his mouth until the quart was empty, and he collapsed limply on the ground. Once he was rendered unconscious, the instances of SCP-784-1 dragged him inside. Finally, Agent Dave.
They did him like the Jeep. They filled his every orifice with eggnog. Oh no. See, if there was a horror-themed Santa Claus, that's what it would be. I will say no more.
Davids was observing the neighborhood when he was offered a present by one of the few children in the town, a young girl wearing a sparkly green and red sweater and a headband decorated with reindeer antlers. Davids accepted the gift with a forced smile and thanked the little girl, but apparently did not respond with enough enthusiasm. When he failed to give the reaction she was looking for, the little girl tackled him with a surprising amount of force, grabbing him around his legs and knocking him to the ground. Before he could regain his balance and climb to his feet, several more children emerged from a nearby house and dragged Davids inside, pulling him by his arms and legs.
They're just
Between 1 and 3
kidnapping
days after
everyone.
they were taken, the abducted personnel emerged from the house they were pulled into. They were all dressed in new, more elaborate Christmas wear, from light-up sweaters to headbands covered in tiny presents. When a supervisor attempted to extract the Foundation personnel, the personnel refused to leave. When the issue was pressed further, the instances of SCP-784-1 around them became increasingly aggressive and even violent. In their attempt to protect the abducted agent, Paulson, Matthews, Anderson, Sanderson, and Davids are still within the boundaries of SCP-784 and are all considered lost. The
Dang.
official story is that they died in the line of duty in order to protect their families from the truth. SCP-784-1's fixation on Christmas spirit doesn't only extend to humans and inanimate objects. Any living being within the walls of SCP-784 that doesn't look festive enough is subject to a swarm of citizens decorating it, and that includes
No, not the
animals.
cat.
During several patrols, Foundation personnel have observed 15 stray cats given red collars with a small bell.
Well, okay, that's not
7
too
stray
bad.
dogs adorned with reindeer antlers, rabbits and raccoons with Santa hats forced onto their heads.
Okay, that's so cute though. I feel like I'm down for that. That's like not necessarily animal abuse. I guess it depends. Most animals don't like when you put clothing on them. Oh, it's so cute though. So such a small raccoon with the little Christmas hat.
And even deer dressed up to resemble the iconic Rudolph. Out of an abundance of caution and in an attempt to prevent any future abductions, there have been extreme limits placed on the number of staff allowed to patrol inside of SCP-784. The Foundation currently only sends in agents under special circumstances, most notably for a regular occurrence known as a Noel event. About once a month, instances of SCP-784-1 will attempt to exit the boundaries of SCP-784 and enter a nearby neighborhood in the suburban community that surrounds 784. Each member of the community carries a 15-meter-long string of Christmas lights, and they wander in a group until they have found an undecorated house.
Oh, they
will begin
spread.
to promptly decorate this house, winding the Christmas lights around it until it looks identical to the rest of the houses in SCP-784. It is unclear what happens to the residents of the chosen house, but it is likely that they are converted into SCP-784-1, much like the abducted Foundation agents.
Yeah, they do
Naturally,
spread.
the Foundation
Oh,
has a
no.
vested interest in preventing SCP-784 from expanding and is dedicated to tracking and preventing these Noel events. Noel events do not happen on an exact schedule, but the Foundation has become aware of certain warning signs that one may be coming. Prior to a Noel event, SCP-784-1 becomes more actively festive during the day, notably increasing their singing, decorating, and eggnog consumption. When these signs have been noted, a select team of personnel is ordered to execute Procedure 784-C, a preventative measure employed to stop the Noel event from occurring. When Procedure 784-C has been ordered to commence, Foundation personnel dress up in Santa outfits and position themselves by the exit points of SCP-784. They sing the classic carol, Good King Wenceslas, and pass out non-alcoholic eggnog to the other personnel stationed with them. Naturally, this draws the attention of SCP-784-1, unable to resist the allure of holiday cheer and goodwill towards men. Once they have arrived, the personnel distribute a secondary batch of eggnog to SCP-784-1, this one mixed with a mild sedative.
Oh,
After the
they get
eggnog has been
baited.
passed out, the Foundation personnel are to sing carols with the citizens of SCP-784 as the sedative takes effect. As instances of SCP-784-1 begin to pass out, their neighbors will silently carry them into their designated homes on their own until all of them have fallen asleep. If Procedure 784-C happens to fail for any reason, the Foundation personnel are instructed to release a sleeping gas into the town and restrain the citizens until they have been rendered unconscious. Then they are all to be placed in their homes by personnel. If the members of any nearby communities express concern, a standard cover story of a neighborhood football watch party gone a little too far is released to the public. In order to prevent civilians from accidentally happening upon SCP-784, SCP-784. The neighborhood has been disguised as an ordinary gated community.
I'd been wondering, right? So why don't they do that? And I was wondering, why don't they just surround the area to prevent them from expanding? But it's clear that these guys aren't fully human, and they probably find a way out.
It is surrounded by a 3.5 meter high, 0.8 meter thick concrete wall, topped with an electrified steel cable. The Foundation is not allowed to prevent non-Foundation personnel from entering, in order to mitigate the risk of a violent reaction from SCP-784-1. However, when an individual not related to the Foundation is spotted leaving the neighborhood, they are to be swiftly detained, interrogated, and given an amnestic. No Foundation personnel...
Whoa, wait a minute. Amnestic. The entire time I've read that as amnestic. Have I just been saying it wrong? That is the first time I've heard it said like that. Amnestic? Like amnesia. I don't know. It's like bonfire ascetic all over again in Dark Souls. I've been saying a bonfire ascetic. I'm ESL, okay? Leave me alone.
Given an amnestic. No Foundation personnel are permitted to enter the neighborhood unless they are dressed in Christmas attire. These personnel must also be armed with a knowledge of all basic Christmas carols. The area is to be monitored at all times via Foundation-owned weather balloon, and the citizens of SCP-784 are to be watched for unusual behavior and the signs of an impending Noel event. SCP-784 is currently classified as Euclid, and is considered to be largely non-threatening as long as it continues to be contained. The citizens of SCP-784 are not overtly harming anyone, and they don't seem to want anything more than to celebrate Christmas forever. However, it's uncertain how far they would attempt to expand if Noel events were allowed to occur with no intervention. Perhaps they would expand forever, forcing eggnog down throats and strangling houses with twinkling lights, turning the world as we know it into a twisted snow globe. Hopefully, we'll never have to find out. Just be careful if you're wandering through the suburbs of Texas and hear the jingling of sleigh bells in July, or you might find yourself on SCP-784's naughty list.
Alright, hopefully y'all enjoyed that. That was a nice little Christmas SCP. That is so interesting though. It's also in Texas. But hopefully y'all enjoyed the video. I'll be sure to leave a link in the description. Check out SCP Explained. Hopefully y'all have some happy holidays. I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.